So now we're going to talk about an overview of the learning foundations and curriculum frameworks for California. So first of all, we're going to look at the California Early Learning and Development System. And you can see that there are 5 components of that system. The one that's been around the longest are the program guidelines and resources in the upper left-hand corner, but those have been revised, so they're not the original ones. The next part that came along would be the bottom left, professional development in regards to those guidelines and resources. And then the desired results assessment system came along on the lower right, and currently that DRDP assessment system is aligned with the 2 newest aspects of the learning and development system, the learning and development foundations and the curriculum frameworks. So the learning foundations, and on the right you can see what the volumes of the learning foundations look like. These are goal-like statements in key areas of learning to guide planning. They describe the kind of learning and development we want to support through intentional curriculum planning. And so these are basically what we would expect developmentally for a child to be able to accomplish at a particular age. The curriculum frameworks provides guidance in planning and implementing curriculum that supports children as they progress in their learning and development in each domain. It doesn't tell us what or how to present the curriculum. It just gives us guidance for planning and implementing curriculum. And as we mentioned before, the Desired Results Developmental Profile, or DRDP, this is the observational assessment that provides information regarding how individual children and groups of children are progressing in the daily learning and development domains. And this information is gathered through observation as the children go through their daily routines. It's not a testing system, it's an observational system. And so then these tools, the learning foundations, the curriculum frameworks, and the DRDPs, used in conjunction with the program guidelines, help us effectively go through the curriculum planning cycle. So we use DRDPs to observe and reflect and then record and document. And once that documentation is complete, then we reflect, discuss, and plan curriculum. And then we implement it, and it's a cycle that we go through all the time if we're planning developmentally appropriate curriculum. And so some overarching principles and practices is we want to make sure that we think about how in the curriculum are relationships built, supported, and maintained. Do opportunities for learning occur in the context of play? Are routines, spaces, materials, and interactions designed to address integrated learning across domains? So we know that math, all of the domains of learning that are in the foundations and frameworks, we know that even though we talk about them separately, we know that they overlap. For example, language is going to show up in all the other domains. Is there intentional teaching in both planning, learning experiences, and then also attention to moment-to-moment teaching opportunities? In other words, are we going through that cycle of planning? How are family and community partnerships developed and maintained? How do teachers recognize and adapt to individual children? How are children's cultures and languages respected? And is there specific time allotted to the curriculum planning process so that teaching is enhanced through reflection and discussion and the time that's allowed for that? And so the curriculum planning process is a lens for viewing curricula. And so how is observation supported? Are there times available for teachers to carefully watch and listen? How is documentation supported? What processes are in place to develop documentation for each child? So is there a schedule? Is there a format for gathering documentation? Are multiple means of documentation available and used? So not only the DRDPs, but are portfolios being collected? And portfolios are collections of the children's work. How are time and materials provided for maintaining documentation? And how is the family's input gathered and included in documentation? So those are all things we have to think about as we go through educational program planning and curriculum planning for children. And so we asked a lot of questions in the last 3 slides. And so here we have a representation of all the important aspects of the learning foundations and the curriculum frameworks. So starting on the left-hand side, we're going to go left to right. Relationships are central. Learning is integrated. Play is a primary context for learning. Individualization of learning includes all children. Responsiveness to culture and language supports children's learning. There's time for reflection and planning, and this enhances teaching. Intentional teaching enhances children's learning experiences, and family and community partnerships create meaningful connections.